Thank you for the opportunity to present for Norway. I try to coordinate a bit between different institutions, but the overview is very likely incomplete. And I'll try to not cover research fleets and other engineering-related technical infrastructures going on fjords and such. So I'll give a brief overview of the observing systems in Norway, the research infrastructures, but I'd like to start with the funding landscape and how that is being coordinated. So research infrastructures is coordinated by the Research Council of Norway through a roadmap for research infrastructure. So the Ministry of Education and Research has given the Research Council the responsibility for preparing a roadmap for investments in research infrastructures. So this is updated prior to each call under the infrastructure scheme, which is the main funding program for the research infrastructures. The last roadmap was in 2023. The new one will be published this summer with a new infrastructure call coming in fall this year. So the funding model of this program is a 10-year frame. It's only funded for the first 5 years for establishment of the infrastructure. Then there's the operation phase, years 6 to 10, which is typically funded by, so the proponents must have, or consortium must have a business plan how to fund this. It's typically through rental excess income, mainly from research projects, and it could also be partly from own financing of big established institutions. So there are thematic areas, 9 thematic areas covering from technology and science through medicine and humanities and social sciences. The ocean observing system component would come in Team 4, which is Earth, Science, Oceans, Climate and Environment. This thematic mapping can be different in the coming up roadmap. This was the last roadmap which was published. The funding volume we are talking about is, say, 2023. In these thematic areas, it was about 130 million euro invested, and roughly 30 million of this was to Team 4, covering Earth, Science, Oceans, Climate, and Environment. It's fair to assume maybe half of this, say about 15 million, goes to ocean observations directly. In all, we are talking about, averaged over looking over the whole period of infrastructure calls, roughly 1/5 of the volume goes into Team 4. Right. So this is the overview of the main ocean-related research infrastructure contributing to international networks. Starting with NOR-ARGO. NOR-ARGO, led by Institute of Marine Research, been funded from the infrastructure program from 2018 and on, and it's contributing to Euro-ARGO ERIC. NOR-EMSO is a project I'm leading. It's to establish the Norwegian component of EMSO ERIC. It's led at University of Bergen. We've been a member of EMSO. Norway has been a member of EMSO since 20, and will be so until the end of the year. The other infrastructure is RI and OOS Norway and the Ocean Thematic Center. RI and OOS Norway is led by the Norwegian Research Center, NORS, and contributes to RI and OOS ERIC. Another infrastructure I'd like to mention is the Svalbard Integrated Arctic Earth Ocean System, Observing System. So it's not ocean infrastructure by itself, but it has strong ocean component. So SIOS, it goes on land, atmosphere, and ocean on and around Svalbard. So the lead is the SIOS Knowledge Center. SIOS is not a part of any European Research Infrastructure Consortium, but it's an international research infrastructure in itself. Other relevant research infrastructures to mention are the Norwegian Polar Institute's Arctic Marine Observing Infrastructure. It's not a national infrastructure, but it's a strong component in our observing system in Norway. I can also mention NORSUP, the Norwegian Ships of Opportunity program, led by Institute of Marine Research, and this is linked to Jericho research infrastructure at the moment. So I'll try to give a brief overview of each component. I'm biased at the glider component. So NOR gliders, I'll kick off with this. This is the Norwegian National Facility for Ocean Gliders. It's coordinated at the University of Bergen. It provides critical and complementary capabilities for ocean observing. This is mainly research and project driven. It's not monitoring or management. So we have a national team of pilots, University of Bergen, Institute of Marine Research, Norwegian Polar Institute, and a web-based portal for operations. This national facility in the title is self-declared. There's no legal status. On the right, you see our coverage starting from the beginnings in the past and in 2024 highlighted and the recent ongoing missions. For example, in 24, we talk about 600 glider days and about 8,000 profiles conducted. The history goes back to 2009. Initial efforts by procurement from the Bjerknes Center for Climate Research, which followed by 3 stages of national funding from the infrastructure program, starting with NACO, and then a glider procurement from the SIOS infrastructure, and most recently through NOR-EMSO project, the funding of which has ended very recently. So I have plans to push this forward for the next infrastructure call to expand the NOR gliders network as an infrastructure. The present network consists of University of Bergen, IMR, and Norwegian Polar Institute. And in the coming up phase, we'd like to include Aquaplan Niva in Tromsø and UNIS University of Center in Longyearbyen in Svalbard. So of these contributors, University of Bergen implements gliders for research, owns, operates, and offers access to ocean gliders, mainly physical oceanography, has established a glider lab and glider port in Bergen. IMR works strategically to implement marine autonomous systems for research, monitoring, and fisheries assessment, and has plans to expand on MAS and to use operationally for standard sections, and recently started experimenting and operating gliders in some standard sections. Norwegian Polar Institute has interest in operating gliders in ice-covered waters, including ice shelves in Antarctica. Aquaplan Niva owns and operates gliders in an USV toward biology, plankton, fish, and sea mammals, and plans to establish a glider lab and glider port in Tromsø. Sorry about the typo there. And UNIS plans to establish a glider lab and glider port in Longyearbyen. Next up is the NOR-Argo project. That's the Norwegian contribution to the European and global Argo research infrastructure. It provides ocean observations to answer societal and scientific challenges. Primary objective is to operate and maintain an array of minimum 30 floats in the Nordic seas and Arctic. There's a portal here, and for each research infrastructure, there's a contact name at the bottom left. You might want to reach out to for detailed questions. Started in 2001, funding from the Research Council in 3 stages or 3 consecutive funding periods. It's a member of the Euro-Argo ERIC since 2018. And there are 6 national partners, and lead is Institute of Marine Research. It has substantially enhanced the observation activity in the Nordic seas. ICOS Norway is the Norwegian contribution to the ICOS infrastructure. So, observing system for measuring partial pressure for CO2. It has 3 land stations, those red bullet points on the map, and ships of opportunity. 3 ships of opportunity doing different transects, one across the basin, one along the Norwegian coast. The aim is to quantify the ocean carbon sink and ocean acidification. So ICOS Norway is Norwegian node, and it's been funded since 2016, again through the infrastructure program. And it's been successful in 3 rounds of funding. So the marine network is operated at the University of Bergen, Norse and Niva, and it's primarily for research. Data feed into SOCAT and global carbon budget. ICOS Norway also includes the Ocean Thematic Center of ICOS Research Infrastructure. This slide gives an overview of the Norwegian Polar Institute's Arctic Marine Observing Infrastructure. So it's not a national infrastructure that you can access per se, but it's very open for collaboration and joint efforts. It's driven by the long-term monitoring of climate and environment in a changing Arctic Ocean. So MPI is a governmental research and advisory institute with a mandate to observe and produce knowledge on polar areas. So the motivation and the drive here is providing advice and generate knowledge for ocean management in high latitudes. So you can see the mooring array in Fram Strait. The eastern bit is covered by Alfred Wegener Institute, so I masked that. But the part monitoring the East Greenland current is led by Norwegian Polar Institute. And there are some moorings at the main pathway of the Atlantic water and 2 Central Arctic moorings. Central Arctic has been more accessible to us with the recent Kronprins Haakon ice-capable vessel, icebreaker. So we take advantage of that. So funding is typically governmental to start with, and then there are lots of research projects, both national and EU. The regional networks this contributes to is the Distributed Biological Observatory, Arctic ROOS, Aurora, SIOS. So it is not a formal part of a global program or ERIC. The final slide is from the Norwegian Ships of Opportunity program, which again received funding from the infrastructure program, and now it's at the operational phase. It's included in the Jericho research activities in the planning phase now, and it's primarily ferry boxes installed on ships of opportunities, ferries, cargo vessels, so forth, going across the Norwegian Sea and across the Barents Sea and along the coast of Norway and in North Sea, with the core variables like temperature, salinity, dissolved oxygen, and chlorophyll fluorescence and turbidity. The connections to EU and global programs I could mention for each of these I mentioned. For Norgliders, we are a strong contributor to EGO network, the Global Ocean Gliders, the glider task team of EuroGoose, been involved in Groom. Nur EMSO had a glider component, so we've been a part of EMSO, ERIC, and SIOS, among others. Nur Argo is, of course, contributing to Euro Argo and the Global Argo program. ICOS Norway is contributing to ICOS and a recently established or being established Global Greenhouse Gas Watch of World Meteorological Organization. And in my last slide, I'd like to answer some of the questions we were given, like will the observing network use AMRIT services? Sure. Field teams, we will use mobile applications for capturing metadata. data managers will use data management software to streamline organizing and sharing metadata. These are just some quick answers, and I'm sure that there'll be more uses. Mapping functionality will be a useful tool for visualizing and sharing data. It will also aid in data discovery and identifying other institutions working in the same region or with similar science goals. How we contribute to AMRIT? Field testing software, reporting bugs, recommending features, and sharing user experience, and integrating and share our collected data with the AMRIT network. Beyond AMRIT services, anything else we'd like to access? Like across autonomous vehicles, integration command and control platform is very attractive. So at the moment, we only address one type of autonomous vehicle with its software. So it's kind of detached. And also AI's map layers integrated into AMRIT mapping apps would be very beneficial. Yes, I hope I didn't take too much time. Thank you very much.